everybody. Hey, good to see you.
Yeah. Thank you for taking it. Let me take a picture. I thought it was weird.
Oh, over there?
Yeah. I always feel weird doing it.
You feel weird doing it. I feel weird doing it.
I feel like I'm cooking with people.
It's weird.
I gotta ask you.
That's not this part of the business. Is not the picture taking.
He's not.
Like, I work in a very dark room and like it that way. You know? You probably do too, don't you?
Yeah, I do actually. But that's beside the point. You got Flash.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Supergirl. Wonder Woman just called me and said she was waiting. How do we get you to be? How do you get these great engagements?
She's waiting for me?
Yeah.
Where is she?
I got her on speed dial.
Okay. All right.
Seriously, how do you get these great engagements? And you have a body of work with the DC universe. It seems logical that should be the next step.
You mean the movie that's coming out? I love doing TV. I see no difference. I mean, the way my process is no different for TV or film. I think there's a studio system thinking that they don't maybe want a TV guy doing movies, but that's starting to blur the lines too with how it all sounds. So I don't I'd do it in a second.
Because Brian Turner's got some TV and movie engagements.
Yeah.
Right? So if not him, why not you?
Yeah, and I'll do it in a second. But the way these have come is Greg Berlanti I've worked with for 13 years. And he came to me 3 years ago and said he was going to do Arrow, which was his first superhero show. I don't really know what that was. It wasn't a character I followed when I was little. And now it's spun off Flash. It hasn't spun off Supergirl, but it opened the archive to the DC comics characters, and DC said, well, why don't we try this character? And then next year we're doing Legends of Tomorrow, which is like a Justice League on TV. So I got lucky because I was a comic book kid. So here that's what I do for a living now is comic book shows. So maybe a movie, Wonder Woman movie. I want to score Aquaman because that was the first comic I bought.
You already have the theme in your head for Aquaman? Is that
Probably.
Last year, I did the same panel with you last year, and we were talking about how you blended the Flash and Arrow themes together. So now I'm wondering, are we going to see some of that together with Legends of Tomorrow and kind of blend all three of them together?
That's definitely going to blend because what's cool about that show, it's actually the first show I've ever done where they're using characters that I've already written themes for. It's like Captain Cold, Heatwave, Canary, they all have themes from Flash and Arrow, so those are going to go with them. And then my most daunting task on that show is to come up with an overall sound that can kind of house those themes all together. Like Brian was talking about on the panel, like you take all these different themes and then put them in one big mix. So that's going to be fun. And I haven't started thinking about it yet, but I have some ideas. But yeah, those themes are going to go, those characters are going to go, those storylines are going to cross over. Like you'll see something in Legends, and if you missed it, you're going to be confused when you watch Flash. I don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, the writing on that is phenomenal. Like they've got to cross all their scripts over.
Those blending of the two characters anytime you do Arrow and Flash was always the best part because it start one theme and then seamlessly go into the next.
And like the next to last episode of Flash this year, Arrow made an appearance. Flash called him for help. I mean, fans go crazy when that happens. So it's fun.
I got to ask you about Supergirl. What we heard on the panel was just immediately beautiful to me. It sounded like flying, and I started thinking about the original flying style. I know you're a big fan. Was that an influencer? Seems like a dumb question.
Well, no, it's not a dumb question. John was a huge influencer on Supergirl because we wanted to do a traditional sounding score that was in keeping with his scores from Superman. So I wanted to do like an all orchestral thing. And she's been an influence all my life. So I don't know. It was fun to write because it's funny you said flying because that's literally what I scored to with that theme. I just put an image up because I didn't have video at that point, and I just put an image up of her flying, and just wrote some things. And the hard thing about that was it couldn't sound like Arrow, it couldn't sound like the Flash, and it had to be traditional. And then I had John Williams tapping on my shoulder, theoretically.
Was there another element of making it sound like a female theme? Because there was a kind of conversation with the audience that you never thought about. Writing.
I hadn't thought about that till today either, but I don't think you can approach music with gender at all.
I agree, right.
You can't.
What am I talking about? What do I know what I'm saying?
I mean, people will say like, oh, it sounds girly because it's got flutes or something, but I mean, I use flutes on men, I use trombones on women. It's modern times, people.
You mean figuratively, not
Figuratively. Hey, now.
You have to edit that now.
How did you approach the main theme of Supergirl?
I'm sorry?
How did you approach the main theme of Supergirl?
How did I do it?
Yes. What was your inspiration for this?
The inspiration was, since she's a cousin of Superman,
Yes, of course.
we wanted to make it, cut from the same cloth, sort of in the same style of the Williams scores from Superman, Richard Donner's films. So I know those scores really well, but I didn't want to. I don't feel like it's possible for me to do as good as John Williams, so I kind of had to put that away and write my own thing. But I wanted it to be. I wanted to be heroic and anthemic, but I also wanted to be fun because I think on this show, like Arrow's a very dark show.
Yes.
Flash runs the middle of being dark and light, and I think that Supergirl's gonna be a pretty light show. I don't know if you got to see the pilot,
Yes, it's the pilot, yes.
she has some fun.
Yeah.
She's but you want her to be powerful, and not. It's funny because even in the show they address the fact she's called Supergirl, not Superwoman.
Yeah.
But the character's been called that since the 50s, maybe.
Yeah.
So I just that was what I did, is try to do it in the style of Superman film, so it's connected. There at one point we thought about using the Superman theme when we see Superman in the pilot, but then we decided it's its own thing.
Thank you.
How difficult is it to work on so many different projects and keep a unique sound for each one, to keep them distinct? Fans may know you, but at the same time, that's still only associated with that project.
I don't think it's difficult once it's all set up. I think just starting it is a little bit difficult. Actually, I'll take that back. I've had days where I spent all day writing on Flash and realized I was using the Arrow theme. And that's a hard day. Because you can't just move it over to Arrow then because it doesn't fit. But it's just, if you're really careful about how you set up, like, I'm only going to use these sounds in the show, and I'm only going to do this style, and I'm only going to use this chord progression, or this kind of theme, you can keep them, but there's always going to be bleeds because it's coming from his brain, so I'm afraid that in some ways it all sounds the same, but if I establish it, then I set up templates and palettes, and I just write in that mode. It's fun. It's fun, but it's interesting. I never thought of it as a challenge, but it is kind of a challenge to like make sure that you're not using the same thing. It's really hard with villains.
Is it?
Villains is hard because villains they don't have a theme until they're on, and you find yourself kind of doing the same type of villain thing. I can't do that. I did that in Flash. So they're actually hard.
Jamie Hart from the DC Database. Quick question for you. Do you ever interact with Foley artists or any other sort of either audio or video of the scene other than just the themes? And how do you do that?
When we spot the show, that's when you sit and watch the show and talk about where you want music and what the music should do. It's myself and also the sound effects supervisor. The sound supervisor. So we'll talk about if there's a heavy heavy sound effects moment. For instance, like a submarine. We'll talk about like register frequencies that he's using so that we're not doubling up, because everything has a tone to it, like this AC has a tone. And so if I know what he's going to do, sometimes he'll send it to me early, or If he's got a lot of gunshots going off, maybe I won't use percussion because it sounds like extra gunshots. So there's a lot of discussion about that. But then ultimately, when I deliver the music, I separate a lot of elements out. So if anything interferes with something that sound effects are doing, they can get rid of it, or vice versa. So, on Flash, there's always a trade-off of, are you going to do that sound when he runs, or am I going to do that sound when he runs? Well, I don't know. Which do you want this week? So it's funny because the score has so many sound effects in it that.
In the panel you mentioned, like for the Flash, she originally started just writing with X and her arrow with A. Can you talk a little bit more about where like the being built from? Like, is there a certain scene that you watched that you kind of went from development?
For Arrow or for Flash?
Either one.
Arrow, I read a script, and while they were shooting, I just wrote for about 2 weeks, and I wrote this 11-minute suite that was called the Arrow Suite, and in it was my idea for the sound of the show and the themes I was going to use, not for villains or romance or anything, just for him. For Flash, I had a different approach because we introduced him on an Arrow episode, so I got to introduce his character actually watching, scoring the scene. So I got to meet Barry before I ever wrote anything. But that was only one theme, it was his scientist theme. So then when they went to shoot the pilot for Flash, I did the same thing. I put myself in a room for 2 weeks, put up pictures of Flash, and just wrote what I thought would be a superhero thing for him. So it's very much the first writing is very much away from the film, and then when the film comes in, there's always like a moment of, is this going to work? Because you'll run the film and you put what you wrote up, and I've had it where it just doesn't work. Like, in fact, that happened on Supergirl. I wrote a big long suite for Supergirl. I got the show. I tried it in a few places and it just doesn't work. So I started over. Yep, and no one will ever hear that. Never. It's already been trashed and deleted.
How do you feel about licensed works, and including them? Smallville back in the early 2000s used it a lot. How do you feel about it in Arrow, Flash, and any future projects?
I think when it's used well, it's great because I think an audience can get what I would call score fatigue, because these shows have a lot of music, and and I'm scoring, and then if you can break it up with a song that really works well, then the audience has a moment to like, okay, I'm not being manipulated, even subconsciously, I'm not being manipulated, I can just enjoy the scene, and that's a really cool song, and we're gonna find that, and then I can come back in and manipulate them with score. But it's a nice breather, and not just because I don't have to write that music, but it's literally I can then be more effective because they let me stop for a minute.
And do you pick that license, or do you?
No, we have each show has a music supervisor, and the producers work with. It's her on our show, Season Kent, on all 3 of those shows actually. And she works with them and sends them the hottest songs and the cool songs. And she watches the scenes and says, "Oh, this might be cool," and they go and license it if they can. So I like it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thank you. See you next year.